This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential.
Ladies and gentlemen, happy Thanksgiving. I hope your families are healthy, happy, and laughing. And we hope that you are on the track to a fantasy football championship. Well, welcome to Fourth and Frames. I'm Red Manuel here with my boys, the usual suspects, the gang. Drew Scott to my right, Aiden Weingardner bottom right, and Kyle Ziegler bottom left. And tonight we're going to break down our plays and fades for Week 13. And if you're joining us live on YouTube, we'll be answering your questions as well. And if you're watching us with us on YouTube and you want to support our content, the best thing that you can do is like this video and then subscribe to the Fantasy and Frames YouTube channel to catch anytime a new podcast or a short form from us drops. What's up, Albert? Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. You could also search for all of the podcasts here at Fantasy and Frames by name on your preferred podcast platforms. And for us, that is the Fourth and Frames podcast. And lock in at fantasyandframes.com for the latest weekly ranking for both redraft and IDP, as well as our staff dynasty rankings and all of our latest articles. Drew, if the people were with us a year ago, they noticed we had ourselves a nice little Thanksgiving side dish draft. We're not going to go that far tonight, but I want to lead us off by going around the branch and asking all of us three questions actually. First, how are you? Second, what are you grateful for? And third, what's your go-to Thanksgiving side dish? Go ahead, Drew.
Doing wonderful. We got a beautiful slate of football games tomorrow to get to enjoy. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Doing great. Hard not to be doing great right now. What am I thankful for? My family, for sure. Wife and 2 kids. My absolute heart just walking around out there in the world. And I'll go with you guys, all of you guys that the guys behind the scenes too, Nate, who isn't here, Jorge, our hashtag just a producer, everybody that makes this thing happen. This is one of the highlights of my week every week. So I love getting to do this with you guys. So that I would say that would be what I'm thankful for.
That's what's up, dude. What about you, Aiden? The new kid on the block, the youngest in charge, 21 going on 12, whatever the heck your age is. I don't know. What are you thankful for?
Well, first of all, I'm actually going to be 22 in 4 days. And second of all, I'm just thankful for all the people that I've gotten to meet and interact with in the fantasy community over the last several months, I'd say.
And Casey, what about you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I am definitely thankful for my lovely wife and my 2 little girls who allow me to spend time with you guys each and every week producing content. So I'm very thankful for them. And my dish of choice would be pecan pie or mashed potatoes. My wife makes really good mashed potatoes. So
can I say mine since I forgot?
I forgot to answer that too. It's mac and cheese is the one always.
And fellas, I think whenever you said you were thankful, you might have made somebody mad because the boss man just dropped in, and I think he's ticked off that none of y'all said you were thankful for him besides Drew.
Stop it.
So,
that's horrible, right?
I'm thankful for you.
What's up, boss man? How you doing?
Doing great. I got my apron on here. Got to go back upstairs and finish prepping the turkey for tomorrow, but just wanted to come on here really quickly and say to everybody in the chat, have a happy Thanksgiving. And to you guys on screen, I know Nate's out tonight, but thank you all for all the hard work you all do here at Fantasy and Frames. And I hope each and every one of you have a happy Thanksgiving with your loved ones and friends. And as far as my favorite dish, I'm not a big pecan pie person. I love pecan pie. I love apple pie, but my favorite pie is sweet potato pie. Some people like to go with the sweet potato casserole, but I like putting it in pie form and just going raw.
I'm in Kentucky. Everything. So
everything.
And by the way, Jorge, thank you for saying it correctly and saying pecan and not pecan like others of us in the
I say that
in the show. But
what did I say?
You said pecan. Pecan. You said
pecan. Say pecan. I say pecan.
That's tough. That's tough.
It's
not good.
But anyhow, and for those who follow us on on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Some of the members of here at Fantasy and Frames, we wanted to say thank you to you all out there, and hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. So go check out the little message we put out there. But gentlemen, it's always a pleasure watching you all, and just wanted to hop on screen and wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and to your loved ones as well. And I'm gonna get off screen here and go hop back into the chat. So you all have a good one.
Happy
Thanks,
Thanksgiving.
Corey.
Corey.
Sounds good, brother.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, that was Jorge, and we are grateful for him, of course. But, I'm just go ahead and answer the question myself. Man, just to sit here every day and just be healthy, like see my kids healthy, see my wife healthy, like wake up on a daily basis and know that I got another day to kind of just do the things I love, impact people. Those are the things that matter at the end of the day, because we only get one. We get one spin around the sun to do it the best we can, and we kind of just got to make the most of it and just be good people. So, just grateful for those opportunities. And in terms of the side dish, y'all not going to know nothing about this, but if you're down in Louisiana, you got to get down with that, which y'all would call dirty rice, but that's rice dressing, baby, all day, every day. So, it's good stuff. So, like we said, we're going to get into these smash and pass plays for here in week 13, but we need to do a check-in on what we did last week and so far this year. Nate must have ducked the show this week for a reason, because he went 1 for 4 last week, and he's still hitting at 45% on the season. Kyle was not with us last week, but still was at 47% on the season. Drew also had to miss a week, so his maintained at 60%. And in what might be the funniest 3 for 4 week that has ever existed, I went 3 for 4 last week thanks to a DK Metcalf touchdown, Chase Brown getting 100 yards rushing and not a touchdown, and Jake Ferguson getting a receiving touchdown and still finishing his tight end 9. I mean, he was the ECR tight end 8. So close calls all around, but you know what? A win's a win, baby. We don't care.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yep.
Lucky charms.
But as much as I would like to brag, there's someone in here, our special guest, back once again. Aiden, you little scoundrel. You went 4 for 4 last week, and you raised your rate on the season to 55%.
Ooh.
The Buffalo Bills might be underperforming here in 2025, but you are thriving, baby. How does it feel?
I'm not going to fight back in the Bills thing. I'm very frustrated with them right now. But yeah,
You can't even take a joke about it. It's good.
No faith. But anyway, very happy to keep, going 4 for 4 on Smash or Pass last week and get to do this with you guys when I can.
So, Aiden, let's have you go another 4 for 4 this week on Smash or Pass. A little bit different format tonight because with 4 people in the go on here in the show, we're going to do 1 smash and 1 pass for each of us. And keep in mind, the format goes that a smash player is a player that's outside the top 12 quarterbacks, the top 15 running backs, the top 20 wide receivers, or the top 10 tight ends in the Fantasy Pros Week 12 expert consensus rankings. Whereas a pass player is a player that's inside the top 15 quarterbacks, the top 20 running backs, top 35 receivers, or top 12 tight ends in the Week 13 ECR. And, of course, we expect them to either overperform there or underperform. So, Aiden, we're going to lead off with you, Mr. 4 for 4, Mr. 55%. You're going to lead us off this week. I do make mention of this matchup in plays and fades this week, but not at the wide receiver position. But nonetheless, the Washington Commanders have had trouble defending the pass this year. Teams have had their fair share of success against them. And so taking Troy Franklin as the ECR wide receiver 26 to smash is a good call this week. But tell us your thoughts on it.
Yeah. So any Broncos offensive weapon, whether it's running back, tight end, wide receiver, you can fire up with confidence, whether that's at a actual position or a confident flex play, because the Washington Commanders defense has struggled mightily, especially against the pass, like you said and alluded to there, Rhett. But the reason I am going at the wide receiver position at ECR wide receiver 26 right now, and the reason I'm picking Troy Franklin over Cortland Sutton again, Both are phenomenal play this week. But the reason I'm picking Franklin over Sutton personally, I think, is because if you look at the deep metrics and numbers, surprisingly enough, for basically the last good chunk of the last month or so, Troy Franklin has outproduced Cortland Sutton in terms of end zone targets, red zone targets, and him and Bo Nix seem to have a pretty good damn connection with one another. No wonder, because they both played together at Oregon in one of the best offenses in the country at the time for a couple years there. So I do like Troy Franklin as a big red zone target, and I know he's kind of held up by touchdowns. His touchdown streak, if you will, is bound to end. But Cortland Sutton has been outproduced by Troy Franklin, whether we like it or not. We just have to look at the facts between the two.
Yeah, it's a good quote. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you really nailed it. Aiden, I totally agree with you. You touched on it a little bit. Yeah, he's got Franklin's got 7 end zone targets to Sutton's 2 from week 6 to now. So yeah, I really like the call there. It's a plus matchup against the Commanders, and like you said, I say fire up all the Broncos in this game. We'll get to Drew's later Bronco, but yeah, I like the call there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Troy Franklin, he's a little bit of mix between slot and out wide, but it doesn't really matter where he's going to line up. Washington over the last, 5 weeks, I think, Washington's given up the 6th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers that line up out wide, and then they've given up the 2nd most to slot receivers. So it doesn't really matter where you line up. They're going to bleed points to the receiver position. So Troy Franklin, if he keeps seeing that target volume you've been talking about, he should have a good week.
And to feed into that as well, so look at the quarterback position for Denver. Over the past 3 weeks, Bo Nix has not set the world on fire. But you do have to keep in mind that also over the past 3 weeks, they've averaged 34 pass attempts per game. So while Bo Nix has not been at his best the last 3 weeks, this is very much a get-right matchup against the Commanders this week, where you might also see him be able to feed these receivers and be really efficient this week as well. So in terms of firing up Denver players, I'm with you guys on that completely. So Troy Franklin at the Commanders, a good call, Aiden. Love it. Kyle, we're going to move to you right away because, my friend, I'm going to say something right now. I've seen some calls this season, and I know Alvin Kamara is hurt, but to come out this week and take the running back that we've seen very little of throughout the year as the ECR running back 29, and picking Devin Neal to smash against the Miami Dolphins, man, I'm curious because the way I see it, I don't see him getting the majority of the rushing attempts. I think that even though he might be washed, I think they're going to try to get Taysom Hill the bulk of those carries next week. I think Chris Olave is going to lead the passing game like he has. I think Tyler Shuck is going to be efficient and probably throw it quite a bit against Miami. So I need you to sell me. I need you to sell me on the Devin Neal train this week against the Dolphins.
Yeah, and you're right, Rhett. Obviously, there isn't a lot of data to go off of here because he hasn't played much. Like you said, he's only got 17 carries for the season, but he's getting the start with, most likely Alvin Kamara with that sprained knee injury. The Saints did sign Evan Hull from the practice squad, so that is telling me that Kamara's likely out for this game. So it's safe to say that he's probably going to sit for this game. And honestly, Rhett, I don't see the point in even playing Kamara the rest of the season. I think the Saints should want to see what they got here out of their 6th-round pick out of Kansas. He can carry the full load, too. He once carried the ball 37 times against Colorado last season, so he can do it. And Neal's got a great matchup right out of the gate, man, against Miami, who give up the 9th most fantasy points to running backs. He can also catch the ball out of the backfield. That's what he does. He can do that. He showed it off last week when Alvin Kamara went down. He caught 5 balls for 43 yards. And you know what, Rhett? He also ran 33 routes last week against Atlanta, which was the highest among all running backs in week 12.
Wow.
That is Christian McCaffrey-like work in the passing game. And if he's going to be involved this much, then he should be able to finish as a low-end RB2 or a high-end flex for week 13. And I actually have him in a dynasty league, and I am planning on taking him off the taxi squad and plugging him in this week against the Miami Dolphins.
Can't take
firing him up this week. I like it.
The one thing that I think I'll be interested to see. I know you mentioned Miami as a a plus matchup, and for the majority of the year they have been. But if you look at just the last 5 weeks, which they had their bye in week 12, so it'll be 4 games for them over their last 4 games. They've been the third most difficult matchup for fantasy running backs over that stretch, and in that stretch they had to play Bijan, Derrick Henry, and James Cook, and then they played Washington, so Chris Rodriguez. Most recently, but saw some pretty talented running backs, and their run defense looked. I don't know if it's just a random stretch or if it's a trend, a change, because prior to that, they were a defense that we were picking on for fantasy running backs, to your point. And so it'll be interesting to see how that goes, because, I feel like if Miami's run defense has been playing that well, New Orleans offense is poor enough to where I think they're comfortable just committing to stopping the run and saying, hey, Tyler Shuck, you're just going to have to beat us. And I think they probably like their chances going that route. And so that would make me somewhat nervous. But to your point, if he sees the volume that he sees, and if they fall behind and he's running the routes the way that he was, he should have the volume to still give you a good floor that week. It's just I'm worried if Miami's defensive improvements are legit, it might cap his ceiling. But I still think the floor is there, to your point.
No, a lot of dump offs too.
And I understand. Yeah. I understand your point too, because when they get down to the goal line, it could be Taysom Hill that kind of vultures a touchdown from Neal. So I totally get that. I totally get that concern. But my thinking is, he is a 6th-round rookie that they want to see what they got in this kid,
right.
And they should give him a long run. The Saints are already out of it. Let's see what they got. Give him some goal line work. Taysom Hill's up there in age. We already know what he can do.
Right.
So, why not just see what this kid can do is where I'm getting at.
Yeah, it'll be something very interesting to keep an eye on for sure. Speaking of running backs too, Eddie is with us in the chat. What's up, Eddie? Bucky is back. And then also shout out Kyle, said KZ, thanks for help on Twitter with the starts and sits. If you guys don't know, if you're not following Kyle on Twitter, you should, at KZ1180. Every Sunday morning, he grabs his coffee, he sits down, he fires off a tweet, and to let you guys know that he's available for some start sit questions. So if you're struggling on Sunday mornings, you need somebody to bounce some ideas off of, Kyle makes himself available to you guys every Sunday morning. So make sure, number 1, go give him a follow, and number 2, take him up on that, because it's a good help for your league as well.
Appreciate that, Drew.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You do good work every morning. But yeah, I know Devin Neal will definitely be interesting to keep an eye on for sure. I love whatever we have special guests on the show, man.
Little guest star coming in right now.
It'll get no better than that on the Thanksgiving episode too. It
right.
Doesn't get any
it's all
better.
Coming together.
I'm gonna keep the running back theme going while Rhett hangs out with his guests. I'll just keep the running back theme going. We just talked about Devin Neal, and so for me, whenever I was looking at the smash plays, I saw RJ Harvey and where he sat in the ECR, and that was an easy one for me. Just being excited about RJ Harvey this week can be boiled down to 3 very simple things for me. First, he's coming off his bye, so hopefully we can see the post-bye bump, the post-bye increase in usage that a lot of highly drafted rookies like he was tends to see. Second, the post-bye bump is perfectly timed because it'll be Harvey's second game as the lead back after Dobbins suffered that foot injury that'll keep him out for the rest of the year. And Harvey's first game as the lead back in week 11 prior to their bye, he played 61% of the snaps. He handled 11 of the 17 running back carries, and he ran 14 routes compared to just 7 combined routes between Jaleel McLaughlin and Tyler Batty. And given the fact that neither McLaughlin nor Batty were particularly impressive with the opportunities they were given, I think it's fair to expect Harvey's snap percentage to continue to increase. So where he was, sitting at around 61% of the snaps, it wouldn't shock me to get up around 70% of the snaps this week. And the third and final reason it's easy for me to be excited about Harvey this week is he's going up against Washington. And Aiden talked about how beatable they are in the secondary. You can also beat them on the ground. Well, they're the 6th best matchup for fantasy running backs based on schedule adjusted fantasy points given up to the position over the last 5 weeks. They're giving up the 5th most rushing yards per game and the 9th most receiving yards per game to running backs on the season as well. And so you've got a 2nd-round rookie running back coming off his bye with a clear path to borderline workhorse volume against a beatable defense. Sounds like a smash to me. So the fantasy pros expert consensus ranking has Harvey at running back 20. I've got him up at running back 15. So he's getting close to that borderline RB1 range for me this week. So he's a smash play.
Yeah, Drew, I hope this works out better for you than it did for me a couple of weeks ago. Man, I was crushed by RJ Harvey a couple of weeks ago on that call that I made, but that was a much tougher defense that I made that call on. It was against Kansas City. To your credit, they are playing Washington. So I think this should definitely work out better for you than it did me. So
I better not see Jaleel McLaughlin there again, though. We're not having that.
Yeah.
No.
I've seen enough Jaleel McLaughlin. We know what those guys are behind him at this point. Like I understood Dobbins getting work because Dobbins was running well, he was playing well, and so I understood it being a split backfield. But now that Dobbins isn't there, I mean those guys behind Harvey are not. Like the reason that they went out and drafted Harvey and paid Dobbins was because of how bad they felt about the running backs that they already had there, which is these guys that are now being forced into more playing time. So I think it's more likely that Harvey snaps just continue to rise versus them giving additional work to McLaughlin or anything like that. I could be wrong, but that's how I think that things will play coming out of the bye. So I'm pretty excited to see how this plays out, given the matchup.
Yeah, man, and it's a good call. So we're just going to go ahead and keep it rolling, and let's break the running back theme. And let's Brandon with the perfect time. He says, Titans, the picks don't matter. Beat the Jags. And Brandon, maybe you're right, but in the process, let's talk about our smash play because it is in that game. Let's talk a little Brent Strange coming against the Tennessee Titans this week. My man came back last week and very quickly showed that despite the fact that Jacoby Myers might be in the room, Brenton Strange might be the number 2 option in that passing offense. He came out last week against Arizona, 5 receptions, 93 yards, showed burst, showed some good route efficiency. Jacoby is still acclimating, and Brenton Strange snap share and route participation are trending up. And I know he's missed some time this year, but I mean, you want to look at what he's done this year in terms of snap shares. There's an 80% game, a 90% game, 78%, 80%. The injury week, he was at 38%. And last week, he only played 71% of snaps, but ran 26 routes, had 5 targets and 5 receptions, had a red zone target. And guys, he's just a player that when he's in the game, he's efficient and he makes things happen for this team. I mean, he has 29 targets, but he has 25 receptions on the year. He has a 15% target share, a 20.7% target rate. He's playing some slot snaps for them. The Jags are one of the teams who throw it quite a bit. They throw it 37.1 times per game. And his catchable target rate, which is surprising, is 89.7, which is 3rd at the tight end position. And you couple that with a guy who's averaging over 2 yards per route run, which is elite at the tight end position, 10.2 yards per target, which is also top 5 at the position. You have a guy who I am looking at and I'm starting to really feel that he really does have that elite upside. And I know that the Tennessee Titans are a bit of a tough matchup against tight ends this season, but you have to think about it like this. In my mind, Brenton Strange is, for lack of a better way of putting it, in this moment, he might be the second wide receiver in Jacksonville. 5 targets last week, 93 yards. You don't get that type of production by simply running 5-yard dunk offs and just hoping for the best. This isn't a Zach Ertz role. This is a role where they're trying to get him out in space and really make things happen. He's becoming a rhythm guy for Trevor Lawrence. That route share is going to go up. He's got elite yards per route run. He's got a Titans defense that is weaker against the run, sure, but that also means that if you're doing that and you have to run, you can't run it all game. You are going to sprinkle it in at some point. I just really feel good that despite the fact that this might be what some people consider a subpar matchup, due to the fact that he does have a very good opportunity within his offense, I feel good about making him a smash play this week, especially considering that in the ECR, He comes in at the tight end 14, I think is on our show sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen it that if you simply catch a touchdown, you are in all likelihood a tight end
there.
one on the week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think he's behind Theo Johnson right now against New England. I'd rather play I'd rather play Strange over Theo Johnson. He's right there with Jawan Johnson at Miami. I think I'd probably rather play Brendan Strange over Jawan Johnson as well. So that puts him into the top 12 for me at a minimum this week. You know, we'll see. I don't know if he'll end up climbing any higher, but I'm with you. I'm going to have him above ECR this week if tight end 14 is where he stays. So I like the call.
Is Brian Thomas still out?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what if he comes back? You still in?
dude, what if can we just really ask an honest question and ask, what have we seen out of Brian Thomas this year that gives us anything?
No.
Well, he will draw more targets than the guys that are out there. Well, I say that.
I don't think Parker Washington's
and
role
Jacoby Myers
changes.
are both drawing targets decently right now. Anyway, he's still a limited participant in practice, so
It's up in the air.
he could possibly return. Yeah, I guess it's one we'll have to keep an eye on. But
Maybe back.
I still think Strange will be a back end tight end 1, front end tight end 2, regardless if
I agree.
And it's like what Red said. It doesn't take much to beat that ranking for a tight end.
Score a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
And he gets targeted enough to where he still could go 5 for 50 and not score and still probably beat it.
Right.
We have any questions we can get to?
Yeah, we do. So we're going to start things a little bit differently. Adrian dropped an NBA fantasy question. I don't know if you guys play NBA fantasy, but I can
dabble into it. Okay, let's hear it, Drew.
LaMelo for VJ and RJ Barrett. I guess it depends on really how many people get to start, what your depth's like, anything like that. I prefer to trade for the star. I prefer to be on the one side. If you need the depth, I think that's a fine package, but you would be the one getting LaMelo. If you don't need the depth, I think you could take that. I know LaMelo always comes with the risk of him missing games, but whenever he's out there, he's a fantasy point machine. So if you can sacrifice the depth, I think it's a fine trade to make.
I know who RJ Barrett is, but who's this other one?
VJ Edgecombe is a VJ.
VJ Edgecombe for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yeah, the rookie.
Yeah.
Okay. The Magic just played him, and I don't remember seeing him.
Yeah, he's
his fourth overall pick.
He's a really solid rookie. He's playing well to start the year too. But yeah, I think if you can sacrifice the depth, I'd take the pick. But I would take LaMelo there. But anyway, let's talk fantasy football. I threw that up there because he did also give us a fantasy football question.
No, I like it.
So who do you start this week? 2 flex: AJ Brown, Ladd, QJ, Michael Wilson, Bucky, Hampton. My starters are Kyron and Brees. And then 3 wide receivers: JSN, Pickens, and JJ. Wow, I've made a lot of trades 10-man league. So yeah, you've loaded up here. So you need to pick 2 flex to add to this list. So I guess between AJ Brown, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, Michael Wilson, Bucky, and Hampton.
I go Brown and Ladd pretty easily, but.
Yeah, I think I would too, only because I kind of want to see Bucky. It's kind of like what Red said a couple of weeks. I just want to see it now that he's back.
Give it a week.
Yeah, I want to see it. So yeah, I'll go Brown and Ladd.
It could be a rotation with 2 or 3 backs there. So
can I just give a quick aside though? I'm not endorsing Michael Wilson over AJ Brown.
Oh,
what I am endorsing is the fact that since Jacoby Brissett has taken over that offense, Arizona has been a top 10 offense the past 6 weeks. So it's kind of a situation that I'm finding harder and harder to ignore on a weekly basis. So once again, I'm not saying avoid AJ Brown and Ladd McConkey. I'm just saying do your research and go all in on your research before you fully commit to that decision.
Yeah, and Marvin Harrison Jr. did return to practice this week, so we'll have to see if he plays.
Yeah. Okay.
Change things for Michael Wilson too, but
correct.
Assuming that assuming Marv is out again and Michael Wilson is the wide receiver 1, I have it ranked as AJ Brown at wide receiver 11, Ladd at wide receiver 14 and Michael Wilson at wide receiver 18. So I would have, and in terms of like flex rankings, both running backs, Bucky and Hampton, they would be comfortably behind those guys as well. So I agree with those guys. With these guys, I would go AJ Brown and Ladd, even if Marvin Harrison Jr. misses, that's still the route that I would go.
If Hampton's not confirmed to be playing, they opened his practice window.
Yeah, they opened the practice window.
He has 3 weeks for that.
Play. Yeah,
he has 3 weeks for that.
Right. So almost a clean sweep on AJ Brown and Ladd, I think, but just, if Marvin Harrison Jr. is out, maybe dig a little bit deeper on Michael Wilson and see if you want to go that route. All right. Your thoughts on my starting lineup, full PPR, Jordan Love at quarterback, CeeDee Lamb, J-Mo, Josh Jacobs, Kareem Hunt, Kittle, Sutton, and Henderson. On my bench, Caleb, Lockett, Rico Dowdle, Tyler Warren, and Jordan Mason. Any changes? So would we switch around the lineup? So I guess we can start at quarterback. Would you play Caleb Williams or Jordan Love this week would be the question.
What's the Caleb matchup?
Eagles.
Caleb is playing Philly, and Jordan Love is playing at Detroit.
I
would 100% play Caleb over Jordan Love.
Whoa.
Oh, I was thinking Love. You're all
Love.
on Caleb.
We're gonna be split because I would go Caleb too. I've got Caleb at quarterback 13, and I've got Love at quarterback 17.
No, listen, you need to hear the case on this because doing research since I've been doing plays and fades, Jordan Love has been a quarterback 20 or worse much more often than he's been a quarterback 1 at any time this season. And in the last couple of weeks, especially if you look at Green Bay's pass attempts, Jordan Love might be going into his game manager era right now, whereas Caleb Williams is taking a pretty good leap forward here in year 2. He's averaging 18.7 fantasy points per game. There's a really solid floor on Caleb Williams right now. And with the matchup and the Eagles having a little bit of trouble defending the pass, I kind of just feel strongly about taking Caleb Williams over Jordan Love right now, especially when you also consider that Caleb offers more rushing upside.
No, I don't hate it, Rhett.
Yeah.
I don't hate it at all. Looking at it, I mean,
It's
even
really
Jordan,
close.
and Jordan Love has been struggling mightily here the last couple of weeks here. I don't. You could sell me on Caleb. It's just I know he's got a tough stretch coming up, but like you said, Philly has struggled there in the secondary, giving up some yards to the quarterback. So
Yeah,
I could
neither
go
are
Caleb.
awesome options though.
Yeah, this is a great problem to have for sure. But yeah, so I mean, we're kind of split. Half of us thinks you should go Caleb. The other half thinks that you should go Love. So
There's your answer.
that one's kind of. So there you go. There, you're welcome for being absolutely no help as far as that goes. Yeah, I think really the only. I guess the only other question would be: Would you flex Rico Dowdle or
Sutton?
Kareem Hunt?
Wait, was it Sutton?
Yeah, would you flex Rico Dowdle over Sutton? I think you have to play. Well, I don't know because Isaiah Pacheco's back. Do you have to play Kareem Hunt too? I guess is a fair question mark.
No, you can bet
He's
Kareem Hunt.
he's still their goal line.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's still their goal line guy.
I've got Dowdle higher technically this week.
I do it.
I think I would play Dowdle over Hunt.
It's gonna be a mess there. So
I've got Henderson. I've got Henderson at RB9. I've got Dowdle at RB18, and I've got Hunt at RB24.
I think all we're taking from this from your roster here is that you've got a really deep roster that you have good problems if you have to make these sort of decisions this late in the season. So well done on your roster for sure.
definitely.
Yeah. The reason why, I mean, I can't pass Kareem Hunt up against the Dallas Cowboys on a Thanksgiving Day game. When they get down to the goal line, he's the guy. He's going to – I know Isaiah Pacheco's coming back, but they're not going to unleash Kareem Hunt after what he's been doing the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but man, Dallas's run defense looks like that they might be a problem.
Improved.
I know that they were. I know they were a run defense that we beat up on before, but and you can say what you want about the long-term effect of the trades that they made at the trade deadline, but the Cowboys beefed up that interior defensive line, and the last 2 weeks they've played Ashton Genty and Saquon Barkley, and neither has done anything against them. And it seems like the secondary is still a problem. Like you can pass on Dallas all day, but it seems like that run defense has really toughened up.
But so have your Rams. Your Rams run D is pretty good too.
It is. But
I'd be more afraid of that than the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I think Dowdle is the much better player compared to Kareem Hunt, and so
I think it's about
if
talent.
both players have a really difficult matchup in front of them, I would just rather play the more talented player. Is the where I typically lean to go, and so maybe it's just a random 2-week stretch and there's nothing actually there. But to me, it seems like that at least short term, the trades that Dallas made has done a lot to improve the interior of their defensive line, and their run defense has looked a lot better the last 2 weeks. Very small sample, but to your point, Rico does also have a tough matchup. The Rams run defense has been really great, but so you're really splitting hairs at that point.
Dowdle does have passing, not a big amount, but a little passing game usage as well, and Kareem Hunt has like 0.
Yeah, it's just he's a plotter, but he's getting a lot of work. But I don't know how much that'll change with Pacheco back. I still think that Hunt will be the guy, but I don't think it'll be the amount of work. I think he had like a career high in carries last week. Like that's insane at this point.
It wasn't even that like drastic.
Getting a career high in carries. So I know that's if he really is coming off the game where he has a career high in carries, I know it's not great to say, hey, I don't think I'd play him this week, but that's where I'm at. That's what my rankings say, and I'm gonna lean on that. So I could be wrong, but that's how I've got it for this week. So
I agree.
I appreciate the question. It was a lot of fun discussion. I don't know if we were actually any help whatsoever, but
I think these questions are just really good tonight.
hopefully
I think it's good to hear both sides, honestly. So
yeah, hopefully you guys get out of that. But yeah, so I think that wraps up the questions that we asked. So now we can roll into the pass plays.
And look, what a way to roll into these pass plays, because whenever we were talking about the Jordan Love versus Caleb Williams question, and I said I prefer Caleb, I believe Aiden's response was, whoa, which
yes, it was.
Makes me, and now looking at the show sheet, I see why, because he has Caleb Williams as a pass play against the Philadelphia Eagles. So, Aiden, you have what we would call a partial crowd in me tonight and being firmly in the Caleb Williams camp and the year 2 jump he's taken. So I need you to talk me into why avoiding him against the Philadelphia Eagles is a good play this week.
Yeah, I don't know. Just this might be a little surprise. No, hold on. Let me think. This might be a little surprising. This might be a little surprising because over the last month or so, Caleb's been very well for both real life and fantasy. He provides a little bit of rushing upside here and there as well. But my main thing is he's going against an elite Eagles defense. Rhett, you mentioned how if there is one weak, quote-unquote, weak part of the Eagles defense, that is their pass defense. They can be had a little weak here and there, depending on the matchup. Caleb Williams has spread the ball around to Dunze, DJ Moore's back, Loveland, Bird, and they're getting going as well. But my thing is Caleb Williams going to have enough time to throw against that one of the best pass rushers in the league with the Eagles to where he can expose that passing matchup? Is Caleb Williams the type of QB that can expose a weak part of an Eagles defense? So that's my only thing. But, yeah.
I mean, it's a valid point because, I mean, you do need time to throw the football. And here's the thing. As much as Caleb Williams prided himself coming out of college on his ability to play off script and make big plays off of improv, I mean, I think he kind of learned a lesson last year whenever he tried that NFL isn't necessarily the place where you're playing off script unless you are, of course, Chris Collinsworth's favorite Patrick Mahomes. So what a play by Mahomes. Oh, my God. Anyway, I'm sorry. I needed to veer there for – yeah, I love Collinsworth, actually. But anyway,
I did too.
It's interesting call there, but you know what? You're right. If he's not protected, like, good freaking luck getting the ball off and being a smash play this week. So, I mean, I'm with you. It's a logical argument. Kyle, keep us rolling. We kind of discussed this in past a little bit. We mentioned the Rams and their elite run defense. Rico Dowdle was efficient last week, but only carried the ball 6 times. did it a little bit more in the running in the passing game last week. Previous 2 weeks, that yards per carry kind of crept around that 3 yards per carry range. Bottom line is this. Over the past few weeks, that Rico Dowdle that went on the heater earlier in the season has kind of regressed more into an RB2 territory, and you seem to really not like this week against the Rams. Tell us why.
Yeah, no, not an ECR running back 16 against the Rams. I'm definitely going to pass on that. The Rams allow a total of 102.7 rushing yards per game. That's 13th best in the league, right behind Cleveland. In terms of fantasy, though, they allow the second fewest fantasy points to the running back position. And the times that Dowdle has beaten this running back 16 ranking, it has come against cupcake defenses. Miami, Dallas, New Orleans. Well, maybe we maybe we shouldn't call New Orleans a cupcake. They're probably more mid. That's fair to say. They allow 123 yards on the ground. But to his point, he was very good against Green Bay. He was running back 1 for the week against Green Bay, so I do give him that. But for the most part, when he faces a stiff run defense such as the Rams, he just doesn't thrive. I'll even say in a situation that I feel comfortable benching him outright. I just don't see him doing well in this matchup. I'm in an industry league in the Expo where I'm currently holding on to the 4 spot. And you guys are going to call me crazy, but I'm starting Kyle Monangai over Rico Dowdle because he scored a touchdown 4 of the last 6 games. I would start my smash running back Devin Neal over him. I would start, like we said, Kareem Hunt. I would start him over the Dallas Cowboys. RJ Harvey against Washington. All those guys are ECR ranked below him. I would start all of them over him. And one more thing that I want to add. I know that this is Dowdle's backfield. Chuba Hubbard has taken a clear back seat. I'm not doubting that. But since week 7, Chuba's 2-game absence that he had, he's still involved to some degree in this offense. From week 7, Chuba's getting a 35.3% snap share. Also in the receiving game, he's still earning a 29.2% route share where he's gotten 12 targets to Rico's 17 since week 7. But to sum it up, basically it's a tough matchup. Rams favored by 10.5. The over-under total is 45. There's just not a lot of scoring potential in this contest on the Carolina Panthers side, in my opinion, to start Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, I do agree with you that the matchup is difficult. I know, Rhett, you mentioned the low amount of carries he had the previous week, and I thought it was really interesting. Dowdle was asked about that, and he said that because he tweeted out like the confused face or whatever after the game. And he said that he felt like they could have had run success against the Niners because they weren't stacking the box. And he said the head coach, Dave Canales, addressed the play calling with the team and said they needed to run more. And Dowdle was satisfied with that message. And he said he appreciated the coach for being accountable, which is just like wild that's just all out there for us. But to me,
public info.
Yeah, to me that's it's almost like the squeaky wheel receiver thing where the guy that gets vocal starts to get targets. I would imagine that Dowdle's probably going to get carries, but he's been getting carries. Outside of last week, that's nothing new. He's going to get the work, and so I think I still have him higher than the guys that you mentioned in my rankings because of that, just because of my confidence in him getting the work and the team trying. Outside of the one random mirage every 10, 12 games, the Panthers, basically their way to win is they need to run the ball and limit what Bryce Young can do, because outside of the one random game where he throws for 400 yards, Bryce Young is really like throwing under 200 yards. And so I think that they're going to need to run the ball, but it's a difficult matchup. So I still got him inside my top 24 for the week. I still have him ahead of some of those other guys, but I do agree that I think that his ceiling is capped this week because of the matchup and the potential for it to get ugly.
Yeah, he's going to be in a – go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Aiden.
Okay. I was just going to make the point that he's going to be in a negative game script for a majority, if not the whole game, and the Panthers are going to have to throw quite a bit.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going to go, because all that sounds great, Drew, that, the coach said you're going to run the ball a little more, you're going to get the ball a little bit more. But when you're down 24-6 at halftime.
What choice do you have?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think they're going to run the ball very much at that point.
Yeah, and I love that we're all just kind of focusing on the passing game. You mentioned Bryce Young. He's not mentioned on the show sheet tonight, but guys, can we just take a quick minute to kind of just maybe perhaps acknowledge that Ted McMillan might actually be that dude, considering how poorly Bryce Young has played at times this season. The fact that he's on pace to play all 17 games, I did the research today. He's on pace for 136 targets, 71 catches, 1,100 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Considering his quarterback situation, that's a hell of a year one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'll save the time. Yeah. He's had a great season, but like I wrote a thing in Fantasy Pros about Tetero McMillan that I would actually trade him right now as a sell high candidate because the fact that he's doing well, he's got some touchdowns here towards the end, but he's only had like 60 yards. I think I counted like 4 or 5 times this season. He popped off against Atlanta for 130, but that was my thing with Tetero. I see him as a sell high candidate right now. Take if you can flip him right now, because my deadline in one of the leagues is it's actually tonight at midnight, but if you could sell him now for like something better, wide receiver, because like you said, Rhett, he's producing so well, you could probably get Emeka Egbuka, for example. He's kind of come off down a little bit. He started out really hot, but now he's kind of trailed off a little bit. You could probably get an Egbuka, kind of sell high and get him instead, who with Bucky Irving coming back, maybe Egbuka has a little bit of a rise.
And that's fine, but also Ted McMillan has not been targeted less than 5 times in any game this season. So he's been 5+ targets in every game he's played this year. Yeah. It's just a hard profile for me to ignore, even with the poor quarterback situation. So I hear you, and it could be another quill in the feather and a quill in the cap, or whatever the hell the phrase is. In terms of why you would sell high on Ted McMillan, it doesn't matter.
If you're in a league with me and there's no trade deadline, sell Ted McMillan to me.
No trade deadline.
I'll be the one buying Ted McMillan.
He volunteers his tribute.
Yes.
Drew, keep us rolling, my friend, because I don't know if I accidentally sent you guys my Plays and Fades article from fantasyandframes.com before I send it to Jorge. But you guys have ironically hit on 2 of my 3 fade running backs this week. Rico Dowdle being one, Javonte Williams being the other one against the Kansas City Chiefs. Give us your argument, Drew.
Yeah, I mean, last week I'm just really bringing back one of the good old classics, because last week Aiden told you that Javonte was a pass in a difficult matchup against Philly. Ended up being a great call. So I'm here to run it back all over again with Javonte in an even more difficult matchup against Kansas City. Javonte, he's still the clear guy in the Cowboys backfield. He handled 20 of 23 carries for the Cowboys last week. He ran 19 routes compared to just 4 for backup Malik Davis. So this isn't a Javonte's losing the backfield or anything like that kind of take. He still offers a safe floor as the clear RB1 for his team, which he still finished as a running back 19 last week against Philly. So it wasn't the top 10 ranking that he was at in the ECR whenever Aiden called him a pass. But he still gave you an RB2 week because of his involvement. And while the Eagles' run defense is tough, the Chiefs, they're another level. They've been the second most difficult matchup for fantasy running backs based on schedule-adjusted fantasy points given up to the position. And this is despite most recently playing running backs that have handled the majority of touches for their team, similar to Javonte, and in those games like what they're going to be getting. And so most recently last week, Jonathan Taylor finished as the running back 26 against Kansas City. And then the week before that, RJ Harvey's first week as the workhorse for Denver, whenever he played around 61% of snaps, he finished as the running back 35. And so you've got 2 in my mind, very talented running backs in offenses that want to run the ball, and they still struggled extremely against Kansas City's run defense. They're giving up the 4th lowest rushing yards per game on the season as well. And despite playing 78+% of snaps in every game the last 3 weeks, Javonte doesn't have a finish better than running back 19 over that 3-week stretch. And I don't think it gets any easier this week. ECR has Javonte as a running back 15. I've got him down at running back 21. So at that range, you're probably still starting him in most leagues. Maybe you have two better running back options in the top 20 that you can play over Javonte, but there's in a lot of leagues you're probably still having to start him. But I would lower my expectations, and he's a pass for me based on his current spot in the Fantasy Pros expert consensus rankings for this week.
I don't think anybody has anything to say because you just laid out the argument that perfectly, Drew. So, I mean, Javonte Williams, I mean, yeah, he's been solid all year, but I mean, that KC defense, it's a tough one. So, it's hard to really, really have confidence in that sort of matchup that you're dealing with. But guys, let's go ahead and let's bring us home on Smash or Pass, because before the show started, me and Aiden also had a disagreement over this player where he thought Zay Flowers was in a spot to smash this week. And I'm kind of not so in on Zay Flowers right now. I'm just going to lay it out for us pretty simply. And Aiden, I'm just going to go ahead and ask you, I'm going to lead this off. I'm going to lead off my argument with a question for you. Yeah. How many wide receiver 1 weeks do you think Zay Flowers has this year, Aiden, overall?
1.
That was in week 1. Very good. So
week 1.
After finishing, in week 1, which by the way was also the only other time that he scored a touchdown this season, since week 1
touchdown
in half PPR formats. Zay Flowers, wide receiver 21 in the expert consensus rankings this week, has averaged 8.9 fantasy points per game in half PPR formats.
Man.
Over the last 10 games, he's been a solid contributor to the Ravens offense, averaging 5 catches for 61 yards. But once again, if you're not scoring with those types of numbers, you're not doing much to move the needle in fantasy football.
Oh.
The problem with Zay Flowers is this. He's not targeted in the red zone because Mark Andrews is targeted in the red zone. So Zay Flowers is a fantastic fit for the Baltimore Ravens offense. He is a great real football player, a great real football receiver, but he is a between the 20s guy, and he's not converting those big plays when called upon this year. And we have some data to back that up because this is a guy that is sitting here, and he is averaging 2.46 yards per route run this season, which is pretty solid. Yeah. At the same time, he's had a 27.9% target share. That's 10th amongst the wide receiver position. He's been on the field for 88% of snaps. That's good. He's had a 97.8% route rate. That's 7th at the position. All this is great. He's 39th in air yards, 32nd in air yard share, 75th in ADOT at 9 yards per target. He's only had 12 deep targets this year, only 6 red zone targets. He's only had 4.6 first read targets per game, which is 34th at the position. They don't throw it a ton. They're second to last in pass attempts. His first read target share is 26th at the position. He's only got 1 touchdown. We can go on and on about the fact that Zay Flowers is a perfectly solid fantasy football player, but you know what it means? Player Profiler has a great stat that is fantasy points per game versus expected fantasy points per game. Zay Flowers' fantasy points per game this year in full PPR is 12.9. His expected fantasy points per game is 12.8 fantasy points per game.
Same,
so all this tells me is that Zay Flowers is exactly who we think he is. He's a boomer bust guy, and when he booms, he's great. When he hasn't been, he's roughly been around a wide receiver 30 this season. And guess what? At wide receiver 21 this week and playing a matchup where we're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals. I know they're not great defensively. I know Baltimore's going to run the ball quite a bit. You have to look at this and tell yourself, this is a Derrick Henry week. Because it is. It is a Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews probably steals a passing touchdown week. This isn't a Zay Flowers pops off for 25 fantasy points week. It just isn't based off of the game script, based off of how he's been used. I'm not comfortable with Zay Flowers with where he's currently ranked, so therefore he's a pass for me.
Yeah, right. At first I was kind of with Aiden on that. I questioned it at first, because it's the Bengals defense, and you think, oh my God, he could actually smash here in this spot against the Cincinnati Bengals. But then I looked deeper, and then I also saw a tweet from Josh Larkey, who's a great follow, by the way, on X. But he tweets out every week a wide receiver matchup chart. And it does show that Zay Flowers isn't going to really exceed expectations here. He's an outside receiver where Bengals do hold opposing wide receivers to about what they score on average. Okay. And Rhett laid it out right there. He averages 8.9 half PPR fantasy points, which is okay, but you shouldn't expect him to outperform this. So you're going to start him, and I would expect 8.9 fantasy points against the Bengals. So, I mean, you could probably do a lot better, and you want to do better in your fantasy lineup. So I like the call, Rhett.
What it really comes down to is so Zay Flowers, he does rotate a little bit on the inside still. He's not a purely a slot receiver. It's like 35% in the slot, 55%, 65% out wide. What it really comes down to is whenever DJ Turner, the corner for Cincy, when he doesn't really travel in the slot, but whenever Zay Flowers is lined up out wide, there's a pretty decent chance that he might get shadowed by DJ Turner. And DJ Turner has been one of the better corners in the league this year. Like, he's only given up 0.17 fantasy points per route run on the season. That's Pat Surtain territory. While Cincinnati's secondary as a whole is looked at as beatable, whenever your fantasy receiver has to line up against DJ Turner, it's a problem. And where Cincinnati has been most vulnerable has been against the tight end position. They are like laughably bad against tight ends. So this could be the Mark Andrews week, maybe the Isaiah Likely week, depending on how deep this thing goes. But they are, while Cincinnati secondary as a whole is beatable, DJ Turner is a nightmare. And there's a good chance that the snaps as Zay Flowers does line up out wide, he's going to have to be dealing with DJ Turner. So, that does make things a lot more complicated for Flowers this week.
Good deal. We have any more questions we can get to from our listeners?
We do. We've got a few. We got a pretty straight forwards, this or that from Eddie at the quarterback position, Tua or Jackson Dart. So assuming that Dart does play this week.
Yes, Dart.
Yeah,
we've got Dart at New England and then Tua versus New Orleans.
I don't care about the matchup because of the past 2 weeks, Tua has averaged 20.5 pass attempts per game.
Yeah,
and Miami's defense has averaged giving up 13 points per game. So I don't think Mike McDaniel is coaching to show that he's got this flashy and great offense anymore. I think this man is coaching for his job. And if you're coaching for your job, you put the ball in Devon Achane's hand and let that motherfucker cook.
Yeah, I agree.
Great way to put it.
Assuming Dart plays, I've got him at quarterback 14 compared to Tua at quarterback 19. So I would agree with you.
Dart, yeah.
Rhett is cooking tonight.
You said it in a much better way than
that was good.
Jelly of the month got a couple different sit questions for us. PPR Hunter Henry versus the Giants, or Brenton Strange versus Tennessee. And so, Rhett, I think it's only fair to put your smash play to the test here and let you tell us if you would. Is Brenton Strange smashing enough to where you would play him over Hunter Henry, or would you play Hunter Henry against the Giants over your smash?
Isn't Henry coming off of like an 8 for 120 game last week or something crazy like that?
That means he's going to bench him.
2 touchdowns.
I think touchdowns.
Yeah, I think it might be. I don't think we're seeing that again from Hunter Henry. I think this is a lot closer than we think, but I got to go with I think I got to go with Strange this week still, simply because Hunter Henry, you've got there's some target competition there. Travion is emerging. I trust Drake May to spread the ball around a lot more than I do for Trevor Lawrence to spread the ball around. So that just kind of lets me know with that target distribution, you want to have a top 2 target catcher and you want to have a consolidated target share. And I think Jacksonville is a lot closer to having a consolidated target share than New England is right now.
Who's Jacksonville play this week? Remind me.
Tennessee.
All right. So yeah, both Tennessee and the Giants here recently have actually been pretty decent against the tight end. They're like back to back. They're both top 10 against the tight end over the last 5 weeks. So that's actually kind of difficult matchups across the board, surprisingly. But I've got Hunter Henry tight end 9, and I've got Strange tight end 12. So they're close for me, but I do have Henry slightly
I'd go
higher.
Henry as well.
All right, you gotta break the tie, or not break the tie. We got 2v1. Are you gonna give us a tie, Kyle, or are you gonna?
I'm going with Henry as well.
Oh,
Let's go. I love you guys.
We got Red on an island, and then he's got one more. We're going from tight ends to receivers. We've got full PPR Jawan Jennings at Cleveland or Darnell Mooney at the Jets, and Drake London is doubtful to play. And I think we can just kind of
he'll be out.
Yeah, we can address this question assuming that Drake London will be out for the week. So I've got Jennings wide receiver 30 and Darnell Mooney wide receiver 32. That's how close I've got this one. So
I go Mooney actually based on the matchup between the two.
Yeah, I would take the matchup with Mooney, and also doing that research again for plays and fades. Brock Purdy hasn't played a lot this year, but in the four games he's played, in 3 of those games he's had multiple interceptions. Yeah. So I'm not sure if he's back at I'm not sure he's fully locked in yet. So it's an interesting Brock Purdy situation right now because he's clearly a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins, but he's also not playing well right now. So it's hard to fully put your trust in a receiver with a quarterback who hasn't been at his best, and that probably means that Brock Purdy's going for 25 fantasy points this week. So,
Kyle, what do you think, Mooney or Jennings?
I was just looking. I think I would actually go Mooney as well, Aiden. He's got a little chemistry there with Kirk Cousins at the quarterback position. You know, he did it last year too with Cousins. So
he did.
Yeah. So I think Mooney's the play here.
Yeah, I flip-flopped him because the Jets over the last 5 weeks, they're the 17th toughest matchup. So they're middle of the road, but that's a lot better than what it was before they traded Sauce. They are the better matchup over Cleveland with these guys as close as they are. And the fact that Ricky Pearsall is probably going to continue to get more involved as he continues to get healthy. I think I flip-flopped the two. As we were sitting here talking about it, I put Mooney a couple spots ahead of Jennings, so I would agree. I would go Mooney.
We convinced them.
I think that's the right call. Yeah,
Drew can be convinced.
You guys convinced me live on the spot. This shows you that I will not dig my heels in.
I like it.
If there's something we need to pivot on.
Growth mindset.
All right. Full PPR sleeper league starters. Burrow. Oh, man, we got the Burrow return. CMC, Devin Neal, J-Mo, Olave, McBride, Franklin, and Lockett. So a lot of guys we talked about tonight, ironically. Bench is Darnold at quarterback. So, yeah, you're playing. I would play Burrow even in his first game back over Darnold, so I think you're good there. Yep. You got Sean Tucker and Rodriguez at running back. And so I think that with Bucky Irving and Lightly back, I think the only running back question really is – or Monty and Sharp too. So I guess would you rather – flex, they got J-Mo, Olave, McBride. I'm assuming since he put Franklin and Lockett after McBride, that means that his 2 flex spots are Franklin and Lockett. So, like, would you rather flex? Would you rather flex Chris Rodriguez or David Montgomery over Franklin or Lockett? And then BTJ and DJ. I don't know. Is DJ Daniel Jones? Is there another
Moore?
DJ?
Could be
DJ Moore, maybe.
Yeah,
DJ
probably.
Moore. Oh, yeah, BTJ and DJ. Yeah. Right, at receiver, sure enough.
All right. So here's the only thing that I would seriously consider. If Brian Thomas Jr. plays, I would consider flexing him over Tyler Lockett simply for upside. I think that's interesting enough to give some weight there.
If he plays, I'd do it.
I definitely don't want to play Lockett. I will do anything I can to not play
yeah, Lockett should
out.
Lockett should not be in the flex here. We're gonna take out Lockett for
anybody.
Anybody,
Any
really, yeah.
BTJ is the best though if he plays.
Who do I have higher between David Montgomery and Chris
Unfortunately, yeah. Because I mean, DJ Moore is another one that he's coming off a good game, but like
I said that my concerns though with that Chicago passing.
Yeah, it could be anybody. You're right. But like what Red said earlier, BTJ hasn't really shown us anything. All
Out
season.
of these options, though, against the Titans, bad Titans defense.
I mean, I don't know if I'm opposed to Charbonnet, who
I think I would play David Montgomery. David Montgomery's my highest ranked running back.
Okay.
Between like Rodriguez, Sean Tucker, Montgomery, Sharp. Montgomery's the one that I have highest.
I don't hate
The Packers, they've been more beatable on the ground than they have through the pass. And so even though Gibbs is handling more work than he really ever has, I think even as a part-time player, there's a decent chance he could fall into the end zone. So I'd probably prefer him just because Rodriguez having to play Denver, that's not good for as far as running backs go. And so
assuming BTJ plays, I think the flex question here is Montgomery versus BTJ.
Yeah, and I think I would rather just go with what I guess
it
depends. If you're like a huge underdog and you need to swing for upside, BTJ has more upside. If you're projected to be the winner like this, you look like you have a comfortable lead, whatever the case may be. I think that Montgomery is a safe play, and I would put Montgomery in for
not Tyler Lockett.
yeah. Just
it's definitely better than Tyler Lockett.
I would play DJ Moore over Tyler Lockett. So yeah,
Me too.
Put somebody in for Lockett. But other than that, I think the lineup looks good.
Me too.
All right, fellas. Any last words before we get out of here?
No, I appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight and every night. I think we all mentioned we're extremely thankful for the folks that choose to spend part of their night once a week with us hanging out, talking fantasy football. So for those of you that do choose to hang out with us on a weekly basis, or even if this was your first week, nonetheless, we appreciate it. We're thankful for you guys and happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Happy freaking Thanksgiving. And also, we got to be thankful for one more thing. We got to be thankful for, Drew, because I almost didn't get to this damn ad read. Our good friends at Fast Draft, because you know what? The season might be coming to a close. It might be over before we know it. But you know what? Just like that Thanksgiving kitchen tomorrow where things are going to be red hot, Mama going to be cooking that turkey, that stuffing, that wet bread that Aiden likes so much, that mac and cheese, that mashed potatoes.
That bread.
Yeah.
Fast Draft is heating up and has you hooked up with those new games like the Flex 6 Spin Frenzy, that 10-team 6-round draft where you pick only wide receivers, running backs, and tight ends. 6 rounds, 20-second clock. You pick your best 6 in PPR for the Sunday slate and profit. And while you're at it, Aiden, race the clock and see if you can finish a plate of stuffing in 20 seconds. Or the Quick 6 Super Slam where you're picking 6 guys for the Sunday game. No salary cap, no problem. You pick your best 6 and you make it happen over at Fast Draft. And what a freaking average, people. I'm on top of my game.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Is that a challenge? Would you like me to send you a video?
Please do. Actually, if you're going to send me a video of you doing anything tomorrow, send me a plate of you trying to choke down a plate of wet bread, and I'll be good. I'll be good with that, my friend.
20 seconds. Here we go.
And we didn't throw this up there earlier, but I will just say what a beautiful Thanksgiving slate that we have in front of us. Man, it really is so many fantasy relevant players in every single game. And the games all have meaning, there's importance to the games. There's playoff implications.
First time in a while, I feel like.
Yeah. It really does feel like one of the best Thanksgiving slates in quite some time. So hopefully you guys are able to eat some good food, and watch some good football. Hopefully our fantasy weeks get off to a good start tomorrow.
And I want to say, Drew, because you mentioned it earlier about how I, tweet out for your start sits. Tomorrow morning, I will be doing the same for the Thanksgiving Day game. So if you do have any start sit questions when we get to, tomorrow morning or whatever, I will be tweeting out. So just look for that on Twitter. And, it wouldn't be fair to say if I didn't say what I was thankful for either besides my family. I am thankful for my Scott Fishbowl ranking of rank number 9.
You should be.
I needed to get that in before the show ends. I am ranked
number 9. You moved up
out of 5,000 people. I am very thankful for that.
That's incredible, as you should be. That is incredible.
That's awesome.
What a flex!
Get that in there at the finish line.
I'm sure Jorge loves that you keep mentioning.
Oh, he does. Yeah, he's a little jealous.
Oh, it makes the channel look good, baby. What are you talking about?
Absolutely.
But no, Speaking of the channel, guys, if you're not with us on a weekly basis, the Waiver Wire Watch Party on Monday nights is going off. Hockey season is heating up. We got streams for that. We got Shoot the Gap on Wednesday nights, Fourth and Frames, the pregame show on Sunday. Guys, articles, plays and fades for IDP and regular. You got Waiver Wire. You have fantasy football trends. Anything that you need, you can get over at fantasyandframes.com, including those rankings, which, by the way, Drew Scott is on fire this year. He's had a couple of top 20 weeks in the ECR, so my man is killing it there as well. And we're trying to kill it for you every week, and we'll be doing that again next Wednesday night for the Week 14 edition of Smash or Pass. Week 14, that's right. And you can find my boys, Nate Markham, who isn't here, but with us in spirit, at Nate Markham on X. You can find Drew at Drew TMR. You can find Aiden at Aiden Y Gardner 13. Kyle at KZ1180. That's Scott Fishbowl's number 9 player, KZ1180, in case you didn't realize it.
Damn right.
And you can find me at R Manual Sports. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Fantasy and Frames Network. We are Fourth and Frames. Toodles.